EMP just dropped a new model. If you guys want to check it out, I will have everything linked down in the description, and it's pretty dope, I gotta say. Oh, wrong one. So we're gonna check that one out here in 1 second. We're gonna do a little comparison, but we have the new EMP EDC NYMBLE and LMAX. This is the 5th run, but check this out. These ones have the Zirconium package, and you know, you obviously get the other hardware. So if you want to switch, swap, and flip-flop your hardware, if you have a couple of them like I do, you might move that around as well, or use them for one of your other ones. But look at that, it's like a raindrop Zirconium. You got it on the clip, pivot collar, and backspacer. Look at those layers on that backspacer. Gorgeous, gorgeous knife. Now, as far as the NYMBLE goes, it has been a very popular knife in the knife community because it is a knife guy's knife. It really is. It has a lot of the attributes that we look for in a knife. And let's flip her open, and all of them. I have yet to have tried one that did not have like such a good detent, especially for all deployments. This one I already know is on the stronger side right now because obviously it's brand spanking new. If I pull out my other one, this one is the Tonto one with the hollow grind, and its detent, this one's all broken in because, it's been loved on quite a bit, but still perfect detent, solid detent, especially for all the deployments. But eventually that's how this one will get over some time. Very, very smooth. Man, that detent is solid on this one. What's cool about the NYMBLE, or one thing, we're going to go over the materials here in 1 second, but what's cool about the NYMBLE is that whole deployment just lands right where you want it. It's got like the perfect positioning for a hole deployment, and the size of the knife being compact like this, it's where it's that perfect size for a compact knife, where it's going to be still very fidget friendly, as far as the size of you having, the leverage points on all the deployments. But then when you open it, you have a full grip because of that, because of the choke up spot there. And this spear point blade, I personally think is the best blade shape for everyday carry knives. Now, that doesn't mean other blade shapes can't be just as good, but one of the reasons why is the spine and the edge.
Blade shapes matter.
All blade shapes matter. The spine and the edge do the exact same thing out to the tip. And the tip is basically center line with the center of the pivot. And what's cool about that is that you always know where the tip is. Like the tip, it's a very natural feeling with a spear point. Whether you're poking into something, if you're cutting something, doesn't matter. The tip, you always know where it's at, and it's very easy to manipulate and control, especially when you're talking about on a compact knife like this. Like the pinch grip is just amazing on a knife like this. And the manipulation in your hand is really, really good. Now, honestly, I'd love to see a deep hollow grind on one of these, or on them. I know my Tonto has a nice deep hollow grind. I'd love to see it on one of the spear point models. That's awesome.
Why? Because you favor spear points?
Yes, that's why. The frag pattern is on both scales. It's just a little more difficult to see on the fat carbon fiber. So we have LMAX, fat carbon fiber, titanium frame lock. I'm going to call it raindrop Zirconium. There is other versions or other color options or whatever that you can get. This one is obviously the green one, but in the extra hardware, it has a full package of extra hardware, literally all the pieces, all the parts. So I could technically put that on this one if I wanted to, not that I would, but, or, on this one. So that's really awesome. Good access to the lock bar. Man, that detent is so solid on this one. I'm guessing it's a little strong. Yeah, the front flipper is good. The detent's definitely solid for the front flipper, but that will break in. So right now it feels a little strong, but obviously I'm having no issues doing it, but that will definitely break in. Flipper tab's great. That detent's perfectly tuned for the reverse flick and that flipper tab. But, like I said, as time goes on and knives break in, they're going to break into what they are forever. So I would tend to want to lean a little bit more towards the heavier side, personally for me, because I know that as time goes on and I'm pushing this lock bar over, you know, and the detent ball breaks in and all that, the detent is going to lighten up on pretty much every knife,
But that
you
knife
know.
has good leverage science.
I love this lock bar cut out, the way how it's cut out around this. You know, you got a little spot right there for the pivot collar. It's kind of cool how they did that. It's a good looking knife, man. Good looking knife. And me personally, for zirconium, Damascus, stuff like that, like I'm not a hater of it. I actually do like it. I'm not the guy who wants everything to be Damascus, but I like having a little bit here and there. I think we all go through like a journey because at first I honestly didn't even like it. Back in the day, I was like, yeah, I don't really like it. I knew it was super expensive, so the reason why you did like it was because you knew how much money it was.
Yellow.
But yeah, very shallow. But then over time, you wind up getting a little bit of everything. Like first you start off with like, I only like black and gray knives. And you're like, well, you know, I need a pop of color. And you wind up getting some pops of colors. Then, you know, over time, you're like, well, I have these blade shapes. I kind of want to try one of these blade shapes. So then you work on, or then you wind up getting, you know, unique blade shapes. Then all of a sudden you're like, I have a lot of small knives. I need a big knife. Then you wind up getting the big knives. And you're like, I need a fixed blade. You get a fixed blade. And you literally just go down the ranks of all these things. And eventually you get to, I don't have any Damascus. I'm going to need to get some zirconium or some Damascus in my life. So you wind up seeking that out, and it can be quite pricey. So that tends to be usually, not for everybody, but it usually tends to be down the line for knife collectors. But yeah, very awesome, man. Yeah, the only thing I could nitpick, if I'm going to nitpick anything, because there's really not much to, is I'm surprised he hasn't done this, right? The front flipper's been the exact same since it started. I really wish he would change the jimping on the front flipper, make it a finer, sharper jimping, and put it all the way up and around right here. Bring it up and around so that when I'm like this, I'm not rolling over that soft spot right there. It has a little bit of edge to it. So that would be my biggest complaint, I think.
You could do though? You could jimp your thumb instead.
That my thumb actually comes with jimping.
But do finer jimping on your thumb.
Well, yeah, I guess I could do that. You're right. Finer jimping on the thumb. My thumbs do come with jimp. So, but the other thing I would say aside from that is just, and this isn't a complaint, this is more of a want, is I would love to see a deep hollow grind. This is a little bit on the robust side as far as geometry goes. Perfectly acceptable, not too thick. It's going to slice really well. And because of the choil and because of the good plunge grind, you have, and I put the oil in there, that's why it's leaking out. I just put a whole bunch in before I started the video. The edge, you have all the room in the world to lower it back. You know, you have, this is a great knife to freehand sharpen. You know, aside from it being slightly thick behind the edge, so it might take a little bit longer than maybe some if you lower back the edge angle. If you leave it the same angle, then obviously it's not going to. But you have all the room in the world to lower back that angle and put like a beautiful mirror polished edge on this, which is probably what I'm going to do. Just, you know, just for the gram, you know, for the gram. But yeah, if this thing had a deep hollow grind, oh my goodness, that would be so awesome. And you know, because of the spear point, you'd still be able to bring the thickness out to that tip, you know, even with a nice deep hollow grind. I think the transition would look really good. I think it'd look even more aggressive. Yeah, especially like if you did like a deep vertical satin. Oh my God. But those are, you know, those are just things that I'd love to see, not nitpicks or negatives. All in all, man, this is a winner. It's been a winner since the first run. And, you know, it's definitely one that is a good one to have in the knife collection if you don't have one yet. So if you are a knife collector and you're looking for a new knife, check out the NYMBLE, because it's definitely one to have in the collection if you're into compact knives. Well, I would say even if you're not a big fan of compact knives, you should try the NYMBLE because it is that good size where it just works. It works for pretty much everything. It's not too small, not too big, the nice little happy medium size. He does have other larger models as well. He's got a bunch of models. But anyways, everything will be linked down in the description for you guys. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.